For decades, car manufacturers have been pushing the boundaries of innovation, introducing features that often felt like something out of the future. But what if we told you that some of the most advanced car features were actually ahead of their time? And how did these early technologies shape the vehicles we drive now? From voice controls to advanced safety systems, join us as we explore 20 old car features that push the boundaries of automotive design. Number 20. Power steering. In the 1920s, power steering emerged as a groundbreaking innovation that transformed driving by making it much easier. The 1925 Chrysler Imperial became one of the first cars to feature this advancement, utilizing hydraulic assistance to reduce the physical effort needed to turn the steering wheel. This technology was especially valuable for controlling large and heavy vehicles, which otherwise demanded significant physical strength to maneuver. Francis W. Davis, an engineer at the Pierce Arrow Motor Car Company, developed the first practical hydraulic power steering system in 1926. Initially, this invention was applied in military vehicles, helping soldiers handle heavy equipment with greater ease. Its introduction to civilian cars like the Chrysler Imperial marked an important step forward in both convenience and safety. By addressing the challenge of physical strain involved in steering early automobiles, power steering paved the way for more accessible and user-friendly driving experiences, revolutionizing automotive design and functionality. Number 19. Air conditioning. In 1939, the Packard Motor Car Company introduced air conditioning as a groundbreaking feature in cars. The 1940 Packard became the first model to offer this as an optional feature, making it a pioneer in improving automotive comfort. This early system, produced by Bishop and Babcock, was simple compared to modern designs. It consisted of a large unit installed in the trunk, which cooled the air and distributed it into the car through the ducts. This innovation brought a new level of comfort during hot summer drives, a luxury that had been unimaginable at the time. Before this, passengers had to rely on open windows and hand fans, which were often ineffective in extreme heat. Although the system was large and costly, it marked a significant advancement in technology and passenger convenience. It also laid the foundation for the development of more efficient and compact air conditioning systems in the years to come. Number 18. Safety glass. In 1927, Ford made a major breakthrough in automotive safety by introducing laminated safety glass in its vehicles, significantly reducing injuries during car accidents. Laminated safety glass was made by sandwiching a plastic layer between two layers of glass, which kept the glass intact even when it broke. This design prevented the glass from shattering into sharp and dangerous fragments that could cause severe injuries. The concept of laminated safety glass was discovered in 1903 by French scientist Edouard Benedictus, who stumbled upon the idea accidentally. However, Ford became the first company to apply this innovation to mass-produce cars, setting a new benchmark for vehicle safety. Before this advancement, car windshields were made of ordinary glass, which posed serious risks during collisions. Ford's adoption of laminated safety glass addressed a critical safety issue well before any regulations required its use, showcasing the company's commitment to protecting passengers. Number 17. Turn signals. In the 1920s, turn signals brought a major change to driving safety. Before their invention, drivers relied on hand signals to show their intentions, which were often difficult to see at night or in bad weather. The 1929 Buick was among the first cars to include electric turn signals, marking a significant step forward in automotive technology. The idea of turn signals emerged in the early 1900s, with several inventors testing various designs. In 1914, Florence Lawrence, a silent film actress, developed one of the earliest mechanicals signaling arms. Later in 1929, Oscar J. Simler patented a more advanced version featuring illuminated arrows to indicate turns. Electric turn signals were groundbreaking because they offered a reliable and clear way for drivers to communicate, significantly lowering the risk of accidents. This innovation made driving safer and simpler for everyone on the road, changing automotive history forever. Number 16. The self-starter. In 1912, Cadillac changed the automotive industry forever by introducing the electric self-starter, making starting cars much easier and safer. Before this invention, drivers used a hand crank to start their engines, a task that was physically demanding and risky. The hand crank could cause severe injuries, such as broken bones if the engine backfired. Charles Kettering, an engineer at the Dayton Engineering Laboratories Company, or Delco, invented the electric self-starter, which used an electric motor to start the engine with the simple push of a button, removing the need for manual cranking. Cadillac installed this revolutionary feature in the 1912 Cadillac Model 30, making it the first car to offer such technology. This innovation was groundbreaking because it improved both the safety and convenience of driving. It also allowed a broader range of people, including women, to drive without the physical challenges and dangers associated with hand cranking. Number 15. Anti-lock braking system. In the 1950s, the invention of the first anti-lock braking system, ABS, marked a major step forward in vehicle safety. Originally created for aircraft, ABS was designed to prevent wheels from locking during sudden deceleration, which could lead to skidding and loss of control. One of the earliest versions was the Maxarette system, developed by Dunlop Aviation, which used hydraulics to regulate braking force and enhance safety during landings. This innovation later transitioned to motorcycles and eventually to cars. The 1971 Chrysler Imperial became the first car equipped with ABS, demonstrating its potential to improve road safety. However, ABS only gained wider use in the 1980s, driven by advances in electronics and sensor technology. ABS addressed a critical safety challenge by preventing wheel lockup and enabling drivers to maintain steering control during emergency braking, significantly lowering the likelihood of accidents. Number 14. Power windows. In the 1940s, power windows became a luxury feature that greatly improved the driving experience. The 1947 Cadillac was one of the earliest cars to include power-operated windows, allowing drivers to raise or lower windows by pressing a button. This advancement replaced manual hand cranks, making window operation easier and more comfortable for both drivers and passengers. The idea of power windows emerged earlier when Packard introduced hydraulic window lifts in the 1940s. Cadillac's 1947 model, however, made the feature more widely recognized by employing an electrically controlled hydraulic system. This system, originally designed for military vehicles during World War II, was later adapted for civilian use. Power windows represented a significant leap in convenience, as manually cranking windows required physical effort. By simplifying this task, they enhanced comfort and set a new benchmark for modern automobile features, making everyday driving a more seamless and enjoyable experience. Number 13. Cruise control. In 1958, Chrysler introduced a revolutionary feature in their Imperial model, cruise control. This system, originally called autopilot, allowed drivers to maintain a steady speed without needing to keep their foot on the accelerator pedal. Ralph Teeter, a blind engineer, invented this technology after being inspired by his lawyer's uneven driving. The device used a mechanical system to regulate the throttle, ensuring a smooth and consistent speed. Cruise control transformed driving by enhancing both comfort and safety. Before its invention, drivers had to constantly monitor and adjust their speed during long journeys, which required continuous focus and effort. By allowing drivers to rest their foot, cruise control reduced fatigue and made trips more comfortable. Additionally, it improved fuel efficiency by eliminating unnecessary acceleration and deceleration. Number 12. Disc brakes. In 1949, the Crosley Hotshot became the first American car to use disc brakes, introducing a significant improvement over older drum brakes, which were less effective in stopping and managing heat. Disc brakes operated by using a caliper to press pairs of pads against a disc or rotor, creating friction that slowed the wheel's rotation. This design provided superior stopping power and more efficient heat dissipation, which reduced the risk of brake fade during extended use. Drum brakes, commonly used before this innovation, often overheated and lost effectiveness, especially during heavy braking. The Crosley Hotshot's disc brakes were developed by Goodyear and Hawley and were originally designed for aircraft, where reliable braking was critical. Although early disc brakes faced challenges and were eventually replaced with drum brakes, this pioneering step marked a crucial advancement in automotive safety and performance, laying the groundwork for the widespread adoption of disc brakes in the future. Number 11. Hydraulic brakes. Hydraulic brakes brought a major change to automotive safety and performance in the early 1920s. Before their invention, cars relied on mechanical brakes, which needed significant physical effort and were not very efficient. In 1918, Malcolm Loghead, who later changed his name to Lockheed, developed the idea of hydraulic brakes. His system used brake fluid to transfer force from the brake pedal to the brake shoes, making it easier and more effective to stop a vehicle. The 1924 Chrysler Imperial was among the first cars to feature this groundbreaking technology. Hydraulic brakes provided consistent and reliable stopping power, unlike mechanical brakes, which often failed under heavy use. This innovation improved control and safety, especially during emergencies. By solving the weaknesses of mechanical brakes, hydraulic brakes set a new benchmark for vehicle safety, and by the late 1920s, many automakers had adopted them for their superior efficiency and performance. Number 10. Dual Circuit Master Cylinder. In the 1960s, the introduction of the Dual Circuit Master Cylinder was a major improvement in automotive safety. This system, first used in cars like the 1960 Chevrolet Corvair, had two separate hydraulic circuits, one for the front brakes and another for the rear. This design ensured that if one circuit failed, the other could still work, providing a backup in emergencies. The Dual Circuit Master Cylinder was created because single circuit systems had a serious flaw. If there was a leak, it could lead to total brake failure. The new system was developed to improve reliability and safety, especially as roads became more crowded. By dividing the braking system into two separate circuits, the chances of complete brake failure were greatly reduced. This innovation came ahead of its time, addressing a critical safety issue long before it became a requirement. In 1967, the U.S. government required dual-circuit braking systems for all new cars. Number 9. Radial tires. Michelin introduced radial tires in 1946, a major breakthrough in tire technology. Unlike the older bias ply tires, which had layers of fabric running diagonally, radial tires used layers of fabric running at 90 degrees to the direction of travel, along with steel belts around the circumference. This new design offered several advantages, including better fuel efficiency, improved durability, and enhanced handling. The first radial tire, called the Michelin X, was developed by engineer Marius Mignon. The radial design allowed for a more flexible sidewall and a stiffer tread, which helped the tire better adjust to the road, resulting in a smoother ride and improved traction. The reduced rolling resistance of radial tires also led to better fuel economy, making them more cost-effective over time. Radial tires overcame many of the problems of bias ply tires, such as poor heat dissipation and shorter lifespans, making them a far superior option for vehicles. Number 8. Headlight dimmer switch. The headlight dimmer switch was an important development in automotive lighting. Before it was introduced, drivers had to adjust their headlights manually, which was inconvenient and risky. One of the first cars to have a foot-operated dimmer switch was the 1925 Cadillac. This allowed drivers to easily switch between high and low beam headlights with a press of their foot, keeping their hands on the wheel for better safety and convenience. Initially, the dimmer switch was placed on the steering column, but it was later moved to the floor to make it easier to use without looking away from the road. The main goal of this innovation was to make nighttime driving safer, as high beams could blind oncoming drivers, while low beams didn't provide enough light in certain situations. This feature was ahead of its time, addressing a major safety concern and improving the driving experience overall. Number 7. Turbine engine. Chrysler introduced the turbine car as an experimental vehicle powered by a gas turbine engine. Unlike the traditional internal combustion engines, this turbine engine could run on different fuels such as diesel, kerosene, and even tequila. The Chrysler turbine car aimed to show the potential of turbine engines as an alternative to conventional engines. The turbine engine had fewer moving parts, which meant it needed less maintenance and lasted longer. It also provided a smooth and quieter ride compared to piston engines. However, the technology had some challenges, such as high production cost and low fuel efficiency. Although the Chrysler turbine car was never mass-produced, it was an impressive example of innovative engineering. It explored new possibilities in automotive technology and opened the door for future advancements. The vehicle highlighted the potential for the alternative engine designs and helped shape the development of future cars. Number 6. Seatbelts. Seatbelts were a major breakthrough in car safety in the 1940s. Although they were not commonly used in vehicles at the time, the Nash Ambassador became one of the first cars to include seatbelts as a standard feature in 1949. This marked the start of a shift toward prioritizing passenger safety in automobiles. The idea of seatbelts goes back to the early 20th century, with early versions being used in airplanes and racing cars. However, it was only in the 1940s that car manufacturers began to see their importance for everyday drivers. The Nash Motors Company, known for its innovative designs, took the lead by offering seatbelts in its vehicles. The addition of seatbelts addressed a key safety concern: the risk of passengers being thrown from their seats in a crash. While there was initial resistance and debate about their effectiveness, seatbelts eventually proved to be an essential life-saving feature. Number 5. Electronic fuel injection. In the 1950s, electronic fuel injection, or EFI, brought a major change to car technology. Before EFI, cars used carburetors to mix fuel and air, which was less efficient and harder to control. The first EFI systems were created by Bendix Aviation and introduced in 1957 as the electrojector. This system used electronic sensors and solenoids to carefully control the fuel mixture, improving the engine's performance and fuel efficiency. One of the first cars to have EFI was the 1958 Chrysler 300D, which showed the potential of this new technology. While the early EFI systems faced some reliability problems, they offered clear benefits over carburetors, such as better fuel economy, smoother engine running, and fewer emissions. These early advancements paved the way for EFI to become widely used in the 1980s, marking a major shift in automotive technology. Number 4. Rear-view cameras. In the 1960s, rear-view cameras were a new idea aimed at improving driving safety. One of the first examples of this technology was the Chrysler turbine car, which had a prototype rear-view camera system. This system used a small camera placed at the back of the car to send images to a screen on the dashboard, letting drivers see behind them without needing to turn around. The idea of rear-view cameras was important because it solved a major safety problem: blind spots that traditional mirrors could not cover. By offering a clear view of the area directly behind the car, these cameras help prevent accidents, especially when reversing and parking. Even though the technology had clear advantages, it was not widely used at the time because it was expensive and faced technical challenges. Rear-view cameras were ahead of their time, introducing a level of safety and convenience that would only become common many years later. Number 3. Integrated GPS navigation. In the 1980s, integrated GPS navigation was a groundbreaking technology that changed the way drivers got around. The 1981 Honda Accord was one of the first cars to include an early navigation system. Though it was basic compared to today's systems, it was a major innovation at the time. The system used maps and electronic sensors to help drivers find their way, offering a preview of future car technology. This early navigation system did not use satellite technology like modern GPS. Instead, it relied on a mix of gyroscopes and sensors to track the car's movement and show its position on a map. Known as the electrogyrocator, this system was developed by Honda in partnership with Alpine Electronics. It was an important step in making navigation easier and more convenient for drivers, providing a valuable tool for getting around in unfamiliar places. Number 2. Electric powertrains. In the 1960s, the idea of using electric powertrains for vehicles started to develop, setting the stage for future electric cars. One of the first examples was Henny Kilowatt, which was introduced in 1959. This vehicle was essentially a modified Renault Dauphine fitted with an electric motor. It had a limited range and speed but showed the potential of electric propulsion. During this period, GM also worked on electric powertrains. In 1964, they created the Electrovare, an electric version of the Corvair. Although it was never mass-produced, the Electrovare demonstrated that electric vehicles were possible with its innovative design and technology. These early attempts were important for the progress of electric vehicle technology, even though they faced problems such as short battery life and high costs. The efforts in the 1960s were ahead of their time as they explored alternatives to gasoline engines long before electric vehicles became popular. And at number 1, voice-controlled systems. In the 1980s, voice-controlled systems started to appear in concept cars, showing the potential for hands-free driving. These early systems were basic compared to the advanced voice recognition technology we have today, but they were groundbreaking at the time. One well-known example was the 1986 Buick Riviera, which had a voice-activated system called Graphic Control Center. This system allowed drivers to control features like the radio and climate settings using simple voice commands. The technology behind these systems was based on the hidden Markov model, which helped improve the accuracy of speech recognition by predicting the likelihood of sounds being words. Although these systems were not always reliable, often struggling with background noise and different accents, they marked an important step in the development of automotive technology. This early innovation laid the groundwork for the more sophisticated voice-controlled systems seen in cars today. These 20 advanced car features prove that innovation has always been a driving force in the automotive industry. Which of these ahead-of-their-time features surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting content.